Hello everybody, welcome back to Dominions 5. We're continuing our Let's Play of the tournament game, where we're playing as Ellie Man, and we have just started our war against Cetis, and I described the whole setup last time, and let's see how the battle goes. Now, actually, I don't remember if this is the actual fight. Oh no, this isn't it. So nothing actually happens here. But just so you see what it looks like, this is the beauty of LA Man. By the way, this is what I was talking about. See how in the last episode I was talking about the skirmish formation versus being packed in. So these archers on skirmish formation, if arrows have, all projectiles have a chance to deviate. So, you know, if the projectile was aimed at this group of archers, there's a good chance it just lands in one of these squares and doesn't hit anything. But if a projectile targets this group, then no matter how badly it misses, no matter how much it deviates, it's going to hit somebody. It's going to hit a square. So, and look, this is so densely packed. So that is a problem. But, just so you see what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Okay. Meanwhile, Midgard. So, Midgard, fresh from his victory against Cetis, is now being invaded by Tianqi. Tianqi has his special hero here, the dragon. He's got a whole bunch of barbarian heavy horsemen and a whole bunch of mages. These mages are the death mages, and so they are doing scale spam, but Tianqi also has access to a national special undead ghosty skeleton, which we'll see later. So now Tianqi's going to have a swing at Midgard. What else happens? Not much here. Not much here. Unexpected events. We got magic, luck, dominion. We lose taxes. Well, one thing that is going exactly according to plan is that with all of these magisters and their siege bonus, we have one turn cracked this fort, despite the huge army that is inside. So that's going exactly according to plan. I think that is pretty much it in terms of the maneuvering. We're just going to storm this castle, and if they attack us to try to save it, that's perfect. That's what we want. We're ready to have that fight. So let's just go ahead and load up that turn, so you can actually see what happens. Okay, here it is. Battle in Morn Woods. There we go. This is it. So you've seen my script and my formation. Let's look at what Cetis has. Similar to what we saw when he was attacking Midgard. He's got some tomb chariots in the back. He's got random commanders here in the back. Some nature gems, probably going to do some swarm casting. He's got some Swordmancers here. He's got mages everywhere. He's got a whole bunch of indie mages. Indie archers. Unfortunately for him, short bows do like 0 against my heavy infantry, so these are not very useful. But yeah, let's see. You know what's interesting? I wonder... Oh, yes. Like, I was wondering, what are all these phantasmal warriors? I just have a whole bunch of extra magisters that have low paths in air and earth. So they're just doing cast spells. Like, they're doing whatever random spell they can. They're not really contributing much yet. What I intend to do later, because I don't have Storm researched yet. Once I have Storm researched, I'll put it up so that I can do summon air power. Once again, Storm affects your precision negatively, but if you take a look at my wardens here, I'm looking for one of the commanders. Oh, I just had one. His precision is like 21, which is pretty insane. So there's Wind Guide, there's the Bless. Even with Storm up, he's still going to be firing precisely enough, and he's got a bow of war. It's a shotgun. The absolute precision doesn't matter too much. So I'll put up Storm, and then all of these Air 1 mages can summon Air Power up to Air 2, and then they can do Lightning Bolt and useful spells. So for now, they're just doing Phantasmal Warrior, not such a useful spell, but it's there. Meanwhile, so here we're fighting, he's doing some Shadow Blast, so Evocations, right? And again, we are pretty tightly packed in here. Here is my initial volley of arrows. Hitting the back row here, we nailed a few mages. So these are all the guys on fire rear. And again, remember, this is perhaps an oversight on my part, because all of my Wardens are all trying to kill these few mages in the back, whereas, you know, their big shotgun blasts would have been better suited just firing randomly, some of them hitting in the middle. But, you know, that it happens. Now Flaming Arrows is up, so now all of these blasts have fire associated with them. But you see here that all of my guys are getting hit by Decay. So this whole front line, like all of their bolts, whether they're accurate or not, are hitting part of my army. So we're going to take huge casualties from Decay. We're just totally murdering whatever was in the back here. And then these are just, you know, the hold and attack. This is just the firing from my regular units, which is just targeting anything in sight. And pretty devastating. Pretty devastating volleys. Let's look at the next volley coming out. There we go. So we're just completely eliminating. You see, like, nothing. The troops are barely even making. There's not even a front line fighting my guys. They just all died of crossbow fires before they can get there. And my shotguns, I call them my shotguns, but the bows of war are just wrecking face in the back. However, look at everything. This is all decayed. So I'll let you watch the rest of this. So interestingly, it looks like I had these guys on hold and fire, not on hold and attack. And so, and that left these wardens here. They must have been on hold and attack rear. And they've kind of been surrounded by all these desert rangers. And that seemed like an unnecessary type of... They kind of got surrounded. That seems kind of unnecessary. I didn't have to have all of these units on hold and fire. Some of them can just hold and fire, but a lot of them can just be on hold and attack to come forward and support that flank. You know, they were able to tank the entire army just because they're really good units. All right, sorry about that. Another phone call. Right, so as you can see, we've caused them to rout. Some of our guys have also run away. Mainly, all our guys have died to decay. And that's that. So if we look at the battle report, they attacked us and they lost everything. However, we also took some pretty severe casualties. So our Lord Wardens, these guys with the bows of war, we lost 19 of 27. We lost 2/3 of them. This is all to decay. And we lost about half of our Sacreds and 66, and also half of the Defenders. So we lost about half of our troops. I think this was a very high price to pay for this victory. I think we could have mitigated our casualties a lot by just kind of spreading out our troops more. Would have had no impact on our ability to kill them. So lessons learned. We paid a steep price for that lesson. You know, we recovered all the weapons, of course, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Let's look at what else has happened. Oh, then we stormed the fortress, and of course there's nothing left inside. Let's look at what else has happened. There was a battle in Midgard. So recall that Tianqi... Oh, interesting. So Tianqi, This is weird. Yeah, this is just a gem bait. Okay, so Tianqi is gem baiting Midgard here, knowing he's probably seen what happened to Sitis, so he has just caused Midgard to spend another 15 air gems to kill 2 mages. So, and he even kills some of his own dudes. So, well done by Tianqi. Then he's also taking some of the land that Sitis had taken previously. Yeah. And that is that. I'm looking to see if anything else happened of note. I don't see anything. No, that's it. We got some gold. We got some unrest. That's it. So, we're continuing. We're getting storm. And then we're going to work up enchantment. So we are now now that we've taken this fort, we can now move on east. So we've got one group that's going to head down here to retake, to sort of shore up the southern front, if you will. If we look at this army, it's long deads, and there does not appear to be any mage support here. So we've just got a basic front line and a tiny communion just to get flaming arrows up, and we're just going to rely on... and then we've got a few wardens here with bows of war, and there should be more than enough to handle this. And meanwhile, we're going to attack this fort with most of our army. As you can see, we have now adapted our formation, and of course we have diminished numbers, so in some sense it's easier to not stack everybody up, but we've got our wardens kind of interspersed in the middle. We've got 2 lines of wardens here, and then these guys are on skirmish formation in the corners, so any kind of evocation will be, well, we're just going to do what we can to reduce the casualties we might be taking. So that was turn 31. Let's go to turn 32. Okay. Let's look at these battles. So here's my attack onto the fort. He just had some PD here, so nothing much. Here is the battle here. This is a province with the Alchemist Guild. Oh, it appears he only has some PD here, so we must have missed him somehow. Was it here? Yeah, so... Interesting. So we pass each other in the night. So what happens is... Yeah, so my army was coming from these 3 provinces, and they consolidated and attacked this province. But he had taken his army here and moved on to my fort down here. Now, unfortunately for Sitis, and unfortunately for everybody attacking me, like in the late age, forts take a long time to siege down because people have higher quality forts. But also, my troops the troops that I'm choosing to recruit happen to have castle defense bonus, so they have even more defensive siege strength. And this army is like long dead, which doesn't have great siege strength, so he's only caused like 60 damage. I still have like 3 more turns before this is even close to being vulnerable. So we're just gonna move right along, and we're gonna deal with this with reinforcements somewhere at a later point in time. What's important to me, he seems to have consolidated what he can in Sitis, but what's important to me is sieging this down, and also we're going to try to grab this province here before Tianqi maybe thinks about grabbing it. In terms of research, yeah, we've finished both Conjuration 5 and Evocation 5, so now we can do Storms, Thunderstrikes, Air Elementals, and we're working our way up down Enchantment. This is important for... Enchantment 6 is important for Arrowfend. both for our own troops, so we don't shoot ourselves with our own crossbows, but in case we did get into a fight with Tianchi, we also definitely need arrow fend. And relief. So we're fighting against a death nation. They might try to do rigor mortis, so we definitely need to have relief as an option. Now, our nature mages are very limited. We do have these indie nature mages that we can recruit here, and if we're desperate, we can put them in our communion with a crystal matrix and cast whatever nature spells we need that way. So that is it for turn. That was turn 32. Let's load up turn 33. Okay. All right, so there were some assassination attempts. So he has, Satis has some poisoners. These are pretty good because nature assassins are pretty good because you can just give them a nature gem and they cast swarm. And pretty much that kills most things. Most single mages aren't able to deal with swarm. And this Magister certainly cannot. So they die. Let's see, there was another battle in Midgard. Is this the battle? Yes, this is the battle. All right, so Tianchi, remember a couple turns ago, maybe it was last turn, did a gem baiting attack. But it seems that Midgard has enough air gems to keep patrolling. This time he's got even more dudes. Let's see how many he has. He doesn't have a lot of big front line here. But this is going to be like 15 to 20 air elementals. And you can see that not having a lot of troops is a big issue because Tianchi's cavalry are doing a hold and attack rear, and they're going to come and smush all of these mages. Except there are air elementals and thunder strikes. So a lot of the air elementals have gone to the back lines, and they are starting to murder all these little ancestor guides. And fortunately, a lot of the thunder strikes here have just really vaporized this first wave of heavy cavalry and stunned a lot of them. And combination of that with a handful of air elementals that are still around is enough to to halt this attack rear maneuver from these heavy horsemen. Meanwhile, the front line has been almost completely decimated. There are almost no Einheirs left. There are still heavy cav left. There's still skelly spam going on. But the backline of Tianchi is looking pretty bad because, again, air elementals are very strong. And the mages that still have fatigue left, a lot of them are very fatigued because Thunderstrike is very tiring. But they're doing Thunderstrike and Lightning Bolt, and those are very good spells. Tianchi has no effective protection, no shock resistance to speak of. And air elementals are not... I mean, fire elementals are great at dealing with Skeleton spam, but air elementals will do just fine. And they do that. And so although it looked scary at first with the cavalry coming into the back line, you can see that at the end of the day, Tianchi fails and pays a pretty heavy price for it. Obviously, Midgard is running out of Einheirs, but he only lost 4 mages out of his 21 Galdermen. Meanwhile, he killed 13 mages. Well, he killed the entire army, basically. 60 heavy cav and 13 mages, plus all the generals. Another excellent fight from Midgard. So Midgard has completely destroyed 2 attacking armies from different players. Not bad at all. Okay, let's look at our fights here. We're just continuing to progress against Satis. We're fighting PD here, nothing to see. So this was the army that had moved south against my fort. Now he's decided to turn around and head back north. I'll show you on the map. Let's just look at these other battles to see if there's anything. Oh yeah, here I wanted to take on this little province north of Golfalas. I figured, oh, I'll just send like 10 defenders. No, it turns out he actually dumped a ton of PD in here. It's bad PD, it's only militia. But, you know, these aren't like... These are good units, they're heavy infantry, but they're not like legendary, amazing sacreds or anything like that. So they do get surrounded by this militia and they die. So that is unfortunate. Any other battles here? Gartha is still dying to Patala. Oh, well, this is a big one. I guess we can watch this. Again, we've got Bandar warriors. We've got some kind of communion going on here. I don't know what he's going to cast. He's got a crystal matrix. It looks like he's going to go thugging. Meanwhile, heavy infantry, crossbows, the usual. Let's see what happens here. I'm curious. Arrowfend, obviously. Looks like he's getting fluffed. He's casting Howl as usual. A lot of body ethereal fluffing going on, which is always very good. Fog warriors. Ah, okay. So that's... Yeah, so he was just doing a communion so that he can get off fog warriors. So now... so even though he doesn't have a lot of dudes, his guys are ethereal, and they well, some are ethereal, but mostly they have mist form, air shield. I believe he also has not yet. I thought he also had a mass protection, but maybe that'll be later. Anyways, mist form, fog warriors. Agartha does not have anything really to deal with this, and he's kind of hoping that his crossbows are going to save him. Unfortunately, there's Arrowfend up, and unfortunately, there's also Howl up. So both of those things, both of those battlefield enchantments are very good counters. And then I think finally the Pretender God is going to attack rear after he's buffed. Yeah, he's got a hat. He's got pretty high protection. He's pretty badass. So that's what happens. Not a lot of mages left, I think, for Agartha, but he's still bleeding out army. Okay, let's take a look at the army movements here. So this was Satis's army that had moved there. We're continuing to move forward here because we want to... one of the things I'm concerned about is Patala or somebody else coming in to claim this land from Satis. So that's why I'm moving as deep and as fast as I can with this army. Also, this was a citadel. Was it a citadel? Oh no, maybe it was just a castle. Maybe it's just a it's just a castle. But we popped it in 2 turns, again thanks to our magisters with their siege bonus. So we're ready to storm the castle. I'm expecting a fight here, so we're reinforcing with everything we can. So we have kind of spread out our troops even more than before. So remember, before I had the 2 lines here, now I have them on sparse lines. These are skirmish. These are all on skirmish. So we're trying to learn from our mistakes, and hopefully we don't take as many casualties in what I'm sure is going to be the last definitive battle of this war. And that is that. Research-wise, yeah, we're working on enchantment. I think that's pretty much it. Let's end the episode here, actually, and we'll see what happens next time. See you guys then. Take care.